Let's do a little bit of myth busting today. There's been lots of talk online about Bugatti service, repair and maintenance costs recently online, and most of what you hear is simply not true. Yes, Bugattis are very expensive cars, but we really care about the running costs because we want these cars to be around in 50 years, 100 years like old Bugattis are today still. And in order to make people use those cars, it can't be crazy expensive to run them. Yes, the Veyron being unveiled over 20 years ago, and the first car to go over 400 kilometers per hour, had very special tires and wheels. That was a bit expensive, but technology has improved since then, and the Chiron has more normal tires and wheels. And actually, the Chiron comes with 4 years of included service and warranty. So on top of being, as you know, the most reliable hypercar, people really use their Bugattis and don't really have issues with them. So that's the most important first. But then also for 4 years, you have zero cost basically to own a Bugatti. It's serviced once per year, completely for free, and the service intervals are very far apart. They are 15,000 kilometers for Chiron, which is very, very reasonable for such a car. And then there's just so much information out there that's simply not true. All the prices you hear about Bugatti service and so on, it's rumors, it's not the truth. Just an example, there's online stories about Bugatti headlights being 150,000 per pair, but it's not the case. It's actually 25,000 per headlight, so 50,000 for the full front system. Yes, that's super expensive, but to develop a headlight for a car like this, which is on a very high level, it takes tens of millions of euros. And on the number of cars that you build, unfortunately, it's pure mathematics. It's not a car that's built in the millions. You can't 3D print those things. You know, I 3D print stuff for 15 years. We are pioneers in 3D printing, like the suspension arms and lots of stuff here in the car is 3D printed in different materials. You can't 3D print headlights or a gearbox housing if you replace. You could 3D print the gearbox housing if you do it like this, but like to print this part, we invested millions, and our supplier divergent even much more. You can't just go ahead and, oh, I have a broken gearbox housing and now I just push a button somewhere and I 3D print that gearbox housing. It doesn't work like that. It's too simplistic. And I just want to show you, I mean, there has been, of course, the talk about one specific Bugatti Chiron Pure Sport recently online, and I get lots of messages from all of you about that. So I just want to tell you a few things. This is a very valuable asset, this car, right? A Chiron or a Tourbillon or whatever. And if something big happens, and that car was in a big accident, you don't see all the damage, unfortunately. Like the gearbox broke, the gearbox housing broke, and also there is structural damage on the monocoque from underneath that you don't see, not the front, but underneath. And if you want to repair that properly, you can't just do that in a garage. I'll just show you a simple example on an airbag. So this is the Tourbillon airbag. And this is how it should work in normal conditions on 23, like room temperature, 23 degrees. So the leather on top of the airbag has some weakening points, which you can't see from outside. That's quite important that you don't see it. So, and it needs to be like that also in all kinds of temperature conditions and over the long run of the car's life. But it also has to function at different temperatures. So look at what happened to us. So this is just a recent example from the Tourbillon, where at minus 20, the leather gets stiffer and it takes more force to break through the leather and it breaks the airbag. So we just yesterday, I mean, I'm just using this example because yesterday we were talking about this here, with all the resources, with tens of engineers that we are working on this, and with millions behind just development of these parts, we have these problems. So we have like 10 different things that we will change. The leather weakening was done with a knife tool. Now we will do it with a laser, and we'll use some different materials, and the hinge of the mechanism will be different, and the way we penetrate the leather will be different. So all of these things to do this properly, to ensure safety in all conditions. And now imagine what I saw online. The guys recognized that some of the part numbers of the airbag module in the Chiron has the same numbers, not all of them, like an Audi module, and that it could physically fit. I wasn't involved in the Chiron development, but the Tourbillon has no parts from other cars. We have to customize all of them for the tourbillon and now an airbag module, it might have the same housing or the same detonator like another car. I don't know which cars share that with the tourbillon, but I'm sure with the tourbillon and Nevera as well, for sure it's not the same airbag inside. So if it fits on the same bolts and you put it in the Chiron now, just because it has the same Audi part, and then someone just puts randomly leather over it, like an upholsterer just puts leather over it without all of this, it's really dangerous. Because the kinematics and the ergonomy in every car are different. You are not sitting the same in a Chiron and in an Audi A3. And I'm pretty sure, I haven't been involved in the Chiron development, but I can't believe that they use the same airbag like in an Audi A3. If they did, hats off to the engineers at that time, because that's damn difficult to make the car pass all the crash tests and safety certifications with exactly the same airbag like in Audi. I would say no way. It might have just the same housing, but the airbag for sure, I would say 90% is specific for the Chiron. And then you have these guys in the garage putting that airbag in the car with a leather wrap over it, and you think that will work compared to what you see, which issues we encounter with all the resources we have as a factory. We will of course solve this, and it will take a few more iterations, but a garage can never do this. And now imagine that with that specific car, where the car needs to be split in half, a car that goes over 400 kilometers per hour, has over 1,600 horsepower, a carbon fiber monocoque. There's so many connections. I'm not sure if you can see that in any car here, but in a Chiron there's so many electrical wires, piping, oil piping, water piping, fuel lines that connect from the monocoque to the rear section, and they have to split the car in half. So I mean, this is a tourbillon prototype, but you can imagine the Chiron is similar. So where the engine is and you have the rear subframe that needs to be separated from the car. You can't do that in a garage. There's just a few places in the world with the right equipment and only a few people in the world with the right training to be able to do that. So why do we not support this? Because it's not safe. And then imagine on top of that, again, this car being a very expensive asset, what does it do for the value of the car in the future if someone wants to buy it? If it was repaired properly, option A, right? Properly repaired by Bugatti, in Bugatti facilities, by Bugatti techs, or done by someone in a garage. And no disrespect to Mate Armstrong, I think he's doing amazing things. He's a great guy and all of that. Like, I also follow his videos, all good. But we just don't think it's safe. And that's why we can't support it. We can't. We don't think it's the right thing to do for a Bugatti. I would love to support from a car enthusiast perspective, but when you know all of this, it just becomes apparent it's not the right thing to do. That's why we are not doing it. And yeah, I wish them all the best. But we made a very fair offer as Bugatti to help them with their repairs. They choose to do it on their own in order to make clicks with their repair. So yeah, if something changes in the future, we'll be of course happy to support them and any of our other customers, but in this case we can't. So hope now you understand a little bit better, and that you understand why we decided the way we did. Bye bye.